Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Tuesday, January 17th. And if we look at the headlines, again, the big story, lots of schools closed due to very slippery, icy rural roads. Those conditions are going to improve dramatically as we get into the late morning hours into the afternoon, as we see our temperatures climb well into the 30s to around 40. And we even got a chance of a few thunderstorms out there this morning, especially across the southern half of lower Michigan from around the Tri-Cities on south, but especially, I think, for that Lansing area off to the south. And again, we'll see some winter weather come back, but it won't be until the middle of next week. Until then, it looks like plenty of warm temperatures with highs right into early next week. Starting tomorrow, will be in the 40s by day and 30s by night. So any snow that most of you have out there is going to be long gone by the time we get into the middle of next week. But again, I think real winter weather conditions will hit at that time. Our normal high for the day is 28. The normal low is 12. And 20 years ago on this day, we had just about 1.5 inches precipitation. So another soggy day 20 years ago, much like what we got today. Not quite as wet today, however. If we look at the highest and lowest temperatures across the lower 48 for yesterday, the warmest temperature 84 degrees at Harlingen, Texas, and at Marathon, Florida, with a cold spot 37 degrees below zero at Stanley, Idaho. And if we look at conditions closer to home here for yesterday, temperatures again mainly in the low 30s, with a lot of that freezing rain into the nighttime hours, especially in the rural sections of lower Michigan. And you can see only the warmest temperature is only 34 degrees in Lansing, and plenty of precipitation. The cold spot early in the morning, yesterday morning, was 14 in Newaygo, and you can see we're now up to about 1.2 degrees above normal per day, and we'll continue that trend right on through early next week. And if we look at the current conditions around the area, first of all, you can see our winter weather advisories and our freezing rain advisories. Again, over the next couple of hours, you should see these disappear as temperatures go above the freezing mark. We're going to see, again, conditions improving, showers and thunderstorms across the southern part of the state. And again, if we look at the next map, you can see those showers and thunderstorms on radar now coming in as the low pressure system near the Chicago area will move off to the east. And that's pinwheeling some of that showers and thunderstorms into the area. So if you get under these, you can see some frequent lightning and some pretty gusty showers as well. If we look at the weather map this morning, again, you can see that low pressure system near Chicago, and it's going to move off to the east here over the next several days. And again, high pressure will dominate our weather for the most part in the way of temperatures, with the zone of flow will be quite warm. We've got a couple of systems we're going to watch here. This next system is going to move up and give us some rain as we get into Friday. You can see by Thursday the low pressure system near Arkansas, again, moving off to the east-northeast, and that'll spread rain into the Great Lakes, again, mainly for Friday into Friday night. This doesn't look like very heavy rain, but nonetheless rain. We could have a more significant rain as we get into late Sunday into early next week, as a low pressure system coming off the Pacific is going to move to the east, and as it does, it's going to slow down. It's going to bring a pretty soggy pattern to the area. And you can see on the GFS over the next 10 days, much of the area between 1.5 inches across the southern part of the state to a band across much of the area of 2 inches or greater. So a very wet pattern coming up along with the warmth, and you can see on the 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 day outlooks, the cold air begins to come into the west. The warm air retreats as we see that big upper ridge is going to continue to move off to the northwest, and as it does, we're going to see undercutting, and we're going to see a pretty active pattern, so we could also get quite snowy. But again, that won't be until at least the middle of next week, more likely the end of next week, before we start getting into a colder, more active period. As far as precipitation, again, over the next 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 day outlook, it's going to be above normal here in the Great Lakes. And if we look at the reasons why we've been so warm, we had a very large spike in the Southern Oscillation Index, and now we're seeing it begin to crash, and it's about 8 to 12 days after you see this begin to really crash that you get the trough begin to set up in the east, and that's why we expect colder weather conditions once we get into the middle and end of next week. And now on to Weather Watch. You can see a much smaller area of adverse weather this morning. But again, you can see the large area of winter weather advisories. Again, most of these will be being lifted here over the next couple of hours. Freezing rain advisories, dense fog across portions of southern Wisconsin and Illinois, and the northeast Iowa, and winter storm warnings where the very heaviest freezing rain occurred. Again, a lot of these will be by the wayside as we get into the afternoon. Thanks for stopping by, and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.